Look, mister, there's 3 rules you've got to follow.
Yeah, what kind of rules?
Keep him out of the light. He hates bright light, especially sunlight. It'll kill him. And keep him away from water. Don't get him wet. But the most important rule, the rule you can never forget, no matter how much he cries, no matter how much he begs, never, never feed him after midnight. You got it?
Sure, kid, whatever you say. Hey, listen, thanks, and have a Merry Christmas.
All right, folks, it is a very special Christmas episode of America's Hometown Horror that's brought to you yet again by Shine Through Window Cleaning.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Merry Christmas, you dingus.
Shine Through Window Cleaning is a family-owned and operated company that proudly serves America's hometown and the surrounding area. They treat your home or business like they would treat their own, and they truly believe in building their reputation on every job they do. Get in touch with Shine Through today to discuss your window cleaning, gutter cleaning, and power washing needs for the 2021 season at 781-812-9189. That's 781-812-9189. Or at shinethroughwindowcleaning.com. That's shine, T-H-R-U, window cleaning. Shine Through Window Cleaning. What is up? What is up? Merry Christmas, peoples. Merry Christmas to all. Happy Hanukkah. I think Hanukkah's over now. I think it ended on the 18th. If you celebrate Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah. Whatever you celebrate this holiday season, happy holidays from us here at America's Hometown Horror.
It's Christmas, happy Christmas.
Kwanzaa, is that what it is? Or whatever the...
Yeah, I forget the name. I just had it in my head and it didn't come out of my mouth.
That's okay.
So.
That happens from time to time.
Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa.
It made
yes.
it. It just took a while.
I'm not even going to try to say that.
Yes, exactly. Well, happy holidays from us here at America's Hometown Horror. My name is Mike, and I am joined by my esteemed co-hosts, Andrew and Kat. What's up, guys?
Not much. Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
I know, you feeling the Christmas spirit at this point?
Oh, yeah. Full-blown Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Making enough of that Christmas spirit, I can feel it coming out of me.
Making the Yuletide gay, as they say.
Yeah, shopping, baking, and you know, lots of cheer.
Should probably start shopping.
Yeah.
I'm now at the point where I just want everything to be over with, so I can just not have to worry about
no more Christmas.
Wrapping stuff, making stuff, no more Christmas, and just move on to New Year's and be done with 2020 and move forward.
Yeah,
it's about time, and then 2021 will be
a new year.
At least it'll be good for the last half of it, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm thinking by summertime we should be.
Hopefully we'll have a good Halloween season. That's what I'm hoping for.
We can't go 2 years without that.
I know. Seriously, that would really, really suck. But I don't know. I think we're trending in the right direction. But yeah, so like I mentioned, it is the week of Christmas, and we have a very special Christmas-themed episode tonight. We are, of course, talking about Gremlins, which we mentioned on last week's episode. But, of course, before we move into our topic of the evening, anybody watch anything spooky and spectacular that they want to report on this week? I know I'm a little light on what we've been watching a lot of Christmas stuff the last week or so.
Yeah, watching Seinfeld episode Festivus.
Yep, there you go. Yep.
Well, I could name, monsters from Christmas movies. So there's, the Bumble from
Rudolph, which was on when we were at Barrel House Z the other night.
And there's the Grinch.
Yep. The Grinch is, I guess the Grinch is a monster.
He's a monster.
Yeah, okay.
And then he gets to be he does a full character evolution.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah, he goes from he goes from a monster to kind of making his heart grow 3 sizes or however many sizes it grew to make him
that day.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe dead.
You'd think so. Yeah, that would probably kill a person.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they would call that your heart exploding, like having a heart attack.
Maybe that's what happened. He died and went to heaven, and that was
maybe that's what his heaven is like. It's just Christmas, like happy Christmas stuff.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Wow,
I don't want to be there.
That would be a darker take on the Grinch.
Yeah. We didn't watch anything else. No,
not
Krampus,
really. Yeah,
I mean, but we watched that.
Krampus, yeah, Krampus. We do the yearly rewatch, and I would say this is Krampus is definitely very similar to this movie that we're going to talk about tonight, Andrew. I know when we were watching it, you mentioned that. Bless you.
No tissue.
Coronavirus.
No. I did it into my armpit.
Yes,
like you're supposed to.
Very nice. Very nice.
So that way now the coronavirus is on my shoulders.
Very,
when I touch it, I can rub it on someone's face.
Very, very considerate of you. Very considerate of you. right, cool. So, Kat, good news for you is it's been another slow news week. I would say very, very slow. There was really only one thing of note that I kind of saw and wanted to talk about here. And Andrew, I don't think you watched this show. Remember Lock and Key on Netflix?
Yeah, I liked it. I liked all the keys.
Yeah, it was kind of a cool show. It's so it's based on a book by a graphic novel series by Joe Hill, Stephen King's son. And basically it is a family that moves to a fictional town in Massachusetts, and they take residence in their father's old family home after their father dies. They basically they discover a bunch of mysterious keys throughout the house that can unlock, various doors in magical ways.
Well, the keys just show up too.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden, when they discover that they have these abilities now with the keys, there's some sort of entity, demonic or whatever, that is also trying to possess the keys. I thought it was a decent show.
Season 2's come out?
So it just got renewed. I guess season 2 is close to coming out, but they've already renewed it for a third season. So we'll be getting more Lock and Key on Netflix.
Nice.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's something
It's good. You should check it out.
Check it out.
Yeah, it's
I'd
very.
like to have
it's like
keys
it's
to the castle.
Yeah.
I would say it's like a very PG-13 style of dark fantasy horror type thing.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah.
PG-13.
I guess we'll okay, what's a...
Well, today you'd say PG-13.
What would you
just
compare
cover
it
your
to?
pass for
Right.
any
Yeah.
sort of rating, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, I don't think there's anything terribly scary or
there
gory
wasn't
or anything
anything.
like that.
No,
It was,
but if you swear twice, now you're PG-13.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get in PG-13 you can say fuck once, but you say fuck twice, and whoop, now you're R-rated. Yep. You get one fuck to give, and then after that you're all done. So
I don't think they really swore though in that at all.
yeah, I don't know. I don't really remember. It was a
ago.
while ago that it was on. We watched it. It was I think before the pandemic, so that's might as well be a fucking lifetime ago.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so more
We've
Lock
already
and
used
Key.
up our fucks.
Yeah, actually, so now we're
We've
R-rated.
used 7 fucks.
We're R-rated. We're R-rated every episode, so that's there's probably a lot more fucks to come. So sorry if you're offended by that.
And less fucks given.
yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, like I mentioned, slow news week this week, but
that it? That's the only
that's
news item?
that's pretty much it. Unless there's anything else that you guys can think of.
Is The Stand out yet? Is that doing terrible? Is it bad?
So I don't know if The Stand is actually out yet. I did read a review of it. I don't know if it was an advanced screening for critics, and it was saying that it was okay. It sounded like the vibe that I got from reading it is that it's a CBS TV show. It's not very edgy. They kind of shrink down the scale and scope of the story and try to focus in on more characters than some of the other stuff. I would eventually still check it out, but
sounds terrible.
yeah, I wish if HBO got their hands on it or Netflix or something like that, I'm sure it would be great. But what's the difference between doing the TV series from the 90s that was on and then doing another network television TV series version of The Stand?
It's basically a TV show that just has a character from every ethnic background ever.
Yeah.
So that it's all encompassing.
Yep.
Yes.
Family friendly.
Diversity. Yep. Hashtag
Yes.
diversity. Did any of you guys watch the Creep Show Christmas Shutter special?
So that is out.
That is out. It came out on Friday.
I'll have to get.
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. So yeah, we've been slacking this week, but we'll pick up the pace. All right, you guys ready to talk about our topic of the evening, our movie du jour?
Oh
Yes.
yes.
All right. Which of course, as I mentioned at the top of the show, is I would call a Christmas classic. Gremlins, the 1984 movie that is about a series of gremlins that invade a small town and the chaos and craziness that ensue.
Debauchery.
If you will. Debauchery, that's a perfect word for it. Lots of debaucherous activities happening with the gremlins on hand. So I guess as we always start off, I will ask what you guys' thoughts are on the movie, where it ranks for you, if you like it, didn't like it. Catherine, I'll start with you.
It's nice. It's a nice movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's for me. It would be a me movie where it's not super scary. Mm-hmm. But it still has that feel good kind of vibe and they have good characters. I like the Gremlins. I like the Mogwai and
The Mogwai.
Margwai.
Mogwai.
You say Margwai like you're like it's Margwai.
It's Margwai.
Mogwai.
After we say
Mogwai.
No, Mogwai.
Yes.
So I said Margwai.
No, Mog. M-O-G.
You're saying
not Margarita Y.
Mogwai.
Mogwai.
We will play this back. Pause this so you can listen to it.
Mogwai.
Yes.
Mogwai.
There you go.
Like Smogwai.
Mogwai.
Say
Smogwai.
Smogwai.
Or you can just call him Gizmo. That's his name. And avoid Mogwai altogether.
Yeah, I like Gizmo.
Okay, cool.
That is, yeah.
I wonder how many people named their pet Gizmo after this movie
Oh,
came out.
lots.
We had a cat named Gizmo growing up.
Yeah, my sister
Rest
had a
in
little
peace
puppy
to
named
Gizmo.
Gizmo, I believe it was. Or we had a dog named
Yeah,
Gizmo.
I'm not
I
surprised.
don't know. Somebody.
Yeah, this probably
Yeah.
inspired lots of pets to be named Gizmo and or Stripe and whatever else you wanted to.
Stripe was a dick. I wouldn't name
Yeah,
it.
Stripe was a dick. Stripe would be a good name for Otis because he's a dick.
Yeah, we can
so, yeah, we can rename him at this point. So you're a fan.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Andrew, what about you?
Oh, yeah, it's a great movie. It's funny. It's lighthearted. But still, a lot of people die in a lot of different ways in this
Yeah.
movie. Like,
Yeah.
There's a lot of deaths in this movie, and I feel like you don't really notice it, like...
Because it's kind of a comedy in a
Yeah.
way. That,
This is definitely a very much a black comedy.
Yeah.
It has a lot of violence and gore, which we'll talk more about what happened due to that in this movie. And, what changes kind of came about because of movies like this that in the 80s were rated PG, but, very clearly shouldn't be rated PG.
Yeah, there's, like,
you know?
there was at least 6. More
Oh,
than
yeah.
that. Way more than that. Like, there's a lot of people you don't know that died.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no one left in the town. Or
Yeah,
at
yeah,
some
exactly.
point.
Yeah, the town just all of a sudden becomes
So
empty.
is everybody dead?
Yeah, pretty much.
Might be the most deaths ever. And like,
Yeah. So fan, is this something that you?
Yeah, I would-
When's the
I-
last time you seen this movie before we watched it
it's
tonight?
been
You-
with it at least 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, but it might not have been. Because I'm like Kat, sometimes I watch something when I'm fucked up, so that I
yeah,
don't
it's
remember
like,
that I watched it. Because you just put it on to watch it, because you're
Right.
like, well, I'm just going to watch
Throw it
this.
on in the
Or-
back.
And then you're like, did I see this then? Or then you start watching it and you're like, oh, yeah.
I'm also a big put on something in the background while I do a million other things
Yeah.
and not really watch it and say that I liked it.
That is
and
your
then
thing.
I forget that I
Yeah.
Watched
That
it.
is a thing that you do.
I really like how the Mogwai.
Margwai.
It's not Uruguay, it's Mogwai.
Yeah.
I like how they get, they get wet and then they get the cocoons.
Yeah.
Those cocoons are really cool.
Yeah. Very.
I
Very.
can't
get
stop
wet and then
laughing.
they get the
Yeah, no, like when they turn into the Gremlins. It's-
Yeah.
You got my brain.
yeah.
My brain isn't working because you keep
metamorphosis.
saying
See what you've
margarita.
done with the Margwai.
See?
Yeah.
Margwai.
Mogwai.
All I can think
Oh, my
about.
God.
Scrambling my brain. I like that part. I think that's really cool
Yeah.
how they turn into such vicious creatures.
Vicious,
Yeah.
alien-like
disgusting,
creatures.
gory
yeah, they turn
creatures.
in- yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Also, Howie Mandela's Gizmo, really? That's the weirdest
I know.
thing. I didn't
Weird.
know that was
you,
a thing.
well, you,
I
you-
didn't
you-
know that.
Yeah, that was. I had that
He's
down in
Gizmo?
facts. Yeah, he does the voice of Gizmo.
But
Yep.
you can, and then I said to Mike later on, I
Uh-huh.
was like, you can hear, remember Bobby's World?
Yeah.
You can really hear
He was-
Bobby.
Yeah, he was in
Oh, he
Bobby's
was
World.
Bobby?
He was Bobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
That was,
voiced
that was
Bobby.
Howie
Howie
Mandel.
Mandel?
Yeah.
That was his show, yeah.
Yeah.
That was like his show. Like it was like he was like it was him as a kid.
Yeah.
Wow.
You didn't know that?
Yeah,
That's-
exactly.
Well, why would you? It's called Bobby's World, not Howie's World.
Yeah.
Why are you looking at me funny?
I'm not looking at you funny.
Like, is there something on me? Like,
No, you don't have anything on you. Yeah, I agree with both you guys. I love this movie. This has definitely come into the yearly rotation for us around Christmas time because it is a Christmas movie. I would ask you guys, do you consider this to be a Christmas movie?
yes.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are some people that debate this, and I don't see how I don't see how you can say that it's not a Christmas movie. There
All Christmas.
are
If Die
How
Hard's
could it not be
if
Christmas?
Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
this is
Gremlins
way more of a Christmas
Yeah,
movie than
I'm
Die
saying.
Hard. Way more, and 100%. But I mean, there's presents exchanged. Like Gizmo is given to Billy as a present.
Yeah.
There are carolers outside, houses that obviously. Then there's the Gremlin carolers. There's Christmas lights everywhere. There's snow, and I mean, Mrs. Deagle is clearly supposed to be inspired by Ebenezer Scrooge. I think. 100%.
That whole when the first scenes at the bank at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's like the miserly, curmudgeon old. Oh, she's the worst. We'll talk more about her. Don't you worry. But there are certain horror movies that you kind of associate with different holidays, right? So 4th of July, people think of Jaws. For Halloween, I mean, duh, people think of Halloween and
Right.
lots of other stuff. This movie reminds me of Christmas, and that's kind of I feel like it's this. I watch it once a year usually. It's usually always on TV during Christmas time, which for some reason it wasn't this year. We had to rent it, but
Yeah.
Maybe because they know that they'll make money off it.
Yeah.
Because people will be like, "Oh, rent it."
Right.
yeah. I mean, this is definitely
Probably free in like the
business.
summer.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and this is I think it's a classic. It's definitely inspired a lot of other movies, including Krampus, like what we were talking about earlier, which obviously we covered in a different episode, but you can definitely see shades of Gremlins when you watch Krampus. So. And while I certainly don't find this to be a scary movie, I can certainly see how if you were a child watching this, there would be some frightening stuff in there. I mean, there's lots of very gruesome gore effects in this, lots of violence. There's some pretty crazy stuff going on. So, but, pretty intense for a PG-rated movie. I feel like this is definitely the 80s version of a PG movie, which they got away with a lot more back then. So, plenty of funny moments in this. Definitely a black comedy, like we said, and there's some truly iconic little creatures, the Gremlins. Obviously, they've kind of stood the test of time, and they kind of, are famous for a reason, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah. Guys want to hear some other 1984 horror movies that came out that year?
Sure.
Decent year for horror. Nightmare on Elm Street, the very first one, came out in 1984, which was one of the first movie roles for Johnny Depp as a kid. Gets killed. Chud, cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers, which I don't think I've seen that. I haven't seen that
I've
movie
seen
in
it.
fucking forever.
And there are links between that movie and Us.
And Us, yep.
Oh.
Yep. Because I remember when we saw Us in theaters, it zooms in on like the TV and there's a stack of VHS tapes and left, and one of them was Chud.
It's not at all the same movie.
Yeah.
But it's same universe, maybe.
Yeah, underground humanoid dwellers.
Yeah,
so
weird.
Yeah. Children of the Corn, another movie that I haven't seen in forever.
I fucking hate that movie.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan. It's not one of the best King adaptations. Firestarter with a young Drew Barrymore, fresh off of her role in E.T. It's basically it's a movie about she's a child that has pyrokinesis. She can start fires
Like
with
I've
her
seen
mind.
that.
Yes,
She's basically like a Marvel.
exactly.
character.
She's kind of like a supervillain type character that
Cool.
just starts fires and shit. Yeah.
That's fun.
Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Which spoiler, not the final chapter. There are several more chapters that came after that. Ghostbusters came out in 1984. Ghostbusters and Gremlins were released on the same day in 1984. June
Really?
8th, 1984.
What a weekend.
I know, right? So it obviously, Ghostbusters, you'd think Ghostbusters would have come out in October, and you'd think this movie would come out in December, but they both were released on the same day, which is kind of a crazy thing. That's hell of a day to go to the movies. You have Ghostbusters and Gremlins to pick from. Pretty cool. And The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. So which was also directed by Wes Craven, like the first one was. So, pretty decent year for horror. Not too bad.
I think I've seen.
I'd say that's pretty sorry.
Yeah.
It's more like a goofy type movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally.
Like Gremlins and Ghostbusters on the same day though. That's
Yeah.
it's like a toss up. Which one would you go see? I wonder. Wow, that's a tough. Ghostbusters probably killed it, right?
So Ghostbusters definitely won the box office
That's what I
and
figured.
was so basically Ghostbusters and Gremlins were both within the top 4 highest grossing movies of 1984. So it was Ghostbusters, Gremlins. I don't know if this is necessarily the order. Beverly Hills Cop and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom all came out in 1984, and those are the 4 highest grossing movies that year. And obviously, it was kind of released at a time when blending elements of horror and comedy was becoming more and more popular. Obviously, Ghostbusters came out the same day, so similar type movie. But Gremlins, so the neighbor character, Billy's neighbor, the one that gets drunk and drives the tractor, and all that. So basically, he says this whole little spiel in the movie where back when he was in the army during World War II, and there were gremlins and all the machineries and the watches and everything like that. That's actually a real thing. That was a legend. So basically, like the notion or lore of gremlins was first conceived during World War II when mechanical failures in British Royal Air Force aircraft were jokingly blamed on small monsters in the machinery. So that's where the term gremlins and like the lore behind it came from, right? The term Gremlins also entered popular culture when Roald Dahl published a book called The Gremlins in 1943 that were based on the same type of mischievous creatures. So Roald Dahl coming up with Gremlins in 1943. Joe Dante, who was the director of the movie, actually did say that he had read Roald Dahl's book and that the book did have some influence on the movie. So, kind of cool stuff there.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Makes
Fun.
sense to me.
Okay, cool.
I'm like, you talk about facts. You just fact it up.
So the word Mogwai, spelled Mogwai, is Cantonese for devil.
Oh.
That's pretty cool.
Interesting.
That makes sense. As I mentioned, director of the movie was Joe Dante, who at the time was famous for directing several horror movies, most notably The Howling, which is an awesome werewolf movie, Piranha, the original one, and he directed one of the segments, I would say probably the best segment, in the Twilight Zone movie. So he collaborated with on that one as well.
This movie did one thing.
Yep.
It taught you to buy American.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Buy American. Big message.
Everything.
Big message.
You don't want this Japanese devil or Cantonese devil. You want your American devil.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that, right? So they actually say the way the Gremlins act and kind of the direct message at the end of the movie when the grandpa shows up to take back Gizmo. It's been interpreted that this movie is a critique of American and Western consumer culture. It takes place around Christmas time. The Gremlins just generally act like assholes, and obviously the Randy Peltzer, the dad, kind of just doesn't take no for an answer when trying to buy the Mogwai off of store owner there. So saw a few things about that. People have speculated different things the movie actually is about, and that was one of them. So
Said he buys it from the little kid that stole it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, so Joe Dante directed the movie. He was handpicked by Steven Spielberg due to his work on The Howling, which is a very, very good movie. The story and the script were written by Chris Columbus. This was one of his first scripts that he wrote. He went on to have he still has a very successful career. He directed Adventures in Babysitting, underrated movie, Home Alone 2, Mrs. Doubtfire, the first 2 Harry Potter movies, I believe. And he also wrote The Goonies.
He wrote The Goonies.
Wrote The Goonies. Yeah, exactly.
He also found America.
Yes, he did find America as well.
But by accident.
By accident. Was looking for India. Fun fact. So safe to say Chris Columbus had a pretty successful career.
Nice.
And Steven Spielberg was the executive producer of the movie. My point, I guess, with all this, there's some seriously talented people working on this movie, and this very much feels like a Spielberg movie, right?
Yeah.
But he's having fun.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's definitely it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
Mischievous fun, I would say.
Debauchery.
So despite being a critical and commercial success when it was released, the film was definitely criticized for some of its, more violent elements. I mean, there's like we talked about, there's a lot of gore. There is a lot of violence, a lot of blood, lots of gooey, exploding of gremlin creatures. So basically, in response to these criticisms and similar complaints that also surrounded Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which Spielberg also directed, he basically went to the Motion Picture Association of America and said, hey, listen, we need to come up with a new rating system here. And he pitched the idea for PG-13. So Gremlins and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom both had a direct influence on the PG-13 rating being instituted, which was created 2 months after the release of Gremlins.
So is this rated PG?
This is rated PG. Yeah.
That's really
This
funny.
is rated PG.
This is rated PG.
That's because you just said
This
the
is probably the
PG-13.
best PG rated.
That's what I was gonna
horror
say. I'm
movie
like,
ever made.
Jaws was also rated PG. Poltergeist was also rated PG.
That was before the PG-13 rating, though.
Correct. Yeah, both of them were.
Right.
Yeah. So, but my point is that this movie, among others, was why PG-13 rating was created.
Right.
So, yeah. So this movie, very much a black comedy. But the first draft of the script that actually Christopher Columbus wrote was much darker. So they cut several scenes. There was one where apparently when Billy's mother is fighting the gremlins in the kitchen and she throws one in the microwave and one goes in the blender, had a much different ending. She died in that scene in the original script, and Billy comes home, the gremlins are upstairs, and they throw her severed head down the stairs at Billy.
Oh my god.
That was the initial scene.
That would
that
never
be
have
the
been a
R-
PG.
that would be the
that would have been an R rating.
Yeah.
That would have been
You
an
can't
R
just do
rating.
that.
For sure. There was also a scene where the Gremlins ate the dog, Billy's dog, and another scene where the Gremlins attacked a McDonald's, and obviously instead of eating cheeseburgers, started eating the guests that were inside McDonald's. So, definitely a dark movie. Could have been darker.
Could get updated if they wanted to make it real dark.
I would watch that. I would
I'd
love
watch
to
it,
watch
yeah,
an R-rated
absolutely,
Gremlins
if they
movie.
did a remake, yeah.
Yep, I would definitely watch that.
Do you think they will?
Well, so
Was it-
basically,
A TV show cartoon just came out, animated.
I would say yeah. So they did release, is it out already?
I thought it came out 2020, but I don't know.
I know I didn't have a release date, but they did do. It's an animated series that's coming to HBO Max. I don't know if it's out. Maybe it is out now. I could be mistaken, but there has been talk for a while now about them doing a sequel. Basically, there was Gremlins 2,
Yeah.
which wasn't as well received. But they had been talking about doing the thing that like Halloween did, where they just did the sequel that ignored everything but the first one, and do a sequel to Gremlins set all this time later, which I think would be pretty cool. Apparently, Joe Dante and Steven Spielberg both are on board for it. Just a matter of whether or not Warner Brothers decides they want to make it. Which I don't know why they wouldn't, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
All right, so there's also a famous urban legend that's mentioned in this movie, and obviously the one where Kate reveals in the speech that her father got stuck in the chimney as Santa Claus broke his neck and died. So when the film was completed, that proved to be one of the most controversial scenes in the movie because the studio wasn't really able to tell if it was trying to be played for laughs or for sadness. So they wanted to have it cut from the movie, but Joe Dante was adamant that it stayed in, so it did. So,
Well, I don't think that it's like making fun of that situation. I think it's like a heartfelt moment.
It's a good way to develop a character.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I don't really see the issue personally, but they apparently did. I don't know.
I wouldn't have
too
even
heavy.
thought anything differently.
Yeah.
If I never mind.
No, it's a podcast. You're supposed to talk.
No,
so.
no. You just looked at me and you're like, what? What are you about to say?
No. I mean,
what are the words that are about to come
What
out
are
of
the
your
words that are
mouth?
going to come out of your mouth?
no. This is where the conversation and discussion is encouraged.
Okay, yeah, no. So I never, yeah.
No,
I liked
just
it.
saying.
I liked that aspect of it. That it had like a little bit of like heartfelt like emotion to it versus just being like a crazy funny movie the entire time.
Yeah, when she first says that she doesn't like Christmas, and he's like, "What are you, Hindu or something?"
Right, yeah.
Like, Jesus, like couldn't get away with saying that anymore.
No,
Yeah,
no.
sure. So for the Gremlins themselves, puppets were used for the majority of the movie. This is obviously, Kat, like you said, one of your pet peeves. This was filmed in the 80s, very limited CGI, so this is all real stuff that was on screen. Puppets, marionettes were used in certain scenes, but potentially the most interesting thing, apparently they tested out a way to do this without puppets. And what they did was they tried to put monkeys in gremlin costumes. But the monkeys obviously,
Did not.
that
That didn't go well.
you're not going to be able to control the monkeys, and they would start to freak out when they put like the gremlin like masks on them.
Oh, Jesus.
So they,
Yeah, the movies
Why
are-
would
yeah,
you?
exactly.
What are you doing to me?
They're putting a monkey in a gremlin suit. So
And they're giving them beers and cigarettes. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
not gonna go over well.
here, give that one the Marlboros. You like those?
Jesus, yeah. Whew.
So I read that and I was like, holy shit, yeah, that another thing that wouldn't fly in 2020. Oh my god, all the animal rights groups would fucking shit themselves if that ever leaked out.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, so all practical effects, puppets, marionettes. Andrew, as you mentioned, Howie Mandel provided the voice for Gizmo. And, fun fact, remember Furbies? Remember
Yeah.
those weird-ass
I
fucking
had
things?
those.
Those were basically.
So basically, Furbies were directly inspired by Gizmo.
That
So
makes
you
sense,
have
yeah.
Just like
you have Gremlins to thank for Furbies and that whole craze.
I love Furbies.
Yeah, so fuck Furbies.
I've never had a Furby.
I think I had two.
It'd be
tried to
weird.
make
I
them
think
talk
that'd
to
be
each
weird
other.
if I had a Furby.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like
Doesn't
I think so
everybody
too.
else think
Yeah,
that'd be weird?
I think that would be strange. Yeah,
I think you're weird for having one.
Why?
I'm just kidding.
No, I'm a girl.
I feel like they were also more of a girl
no,
thing.
I
I
just
think,
was
but
kidding. That's
Oh.
a joke.
I think I had two. I tried to make them
All
talk to
right,
each other.
one
but they
is
wouldn't talk.
one is enough. We have two trying to talk to each other.
That's what I want. Yeah, I wanted them to talk to each other.
two Mogwai to talk to each other.
Yeah.
But you threw it in the bathtub.
So did you feed it after
No,
midnight?
I didn't know all this. Or I would have if I knew. I don't think that they would swim though.
You wouldn't have one if you knew. You would be terrified.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'd probably be. Yeah.
Guys, ready for some categories?
Yes.
All right.
Categories.
Cat. Do you find this movie to be in any way, shape, or form scary, frightening, and or anxiety-producing?
I don't think so. I don't think there's really any... I mean, I guess it's anxiety, like... But it's more like curiosity when, like, things happen to the Marg... And...
Now you're doing it. Now you're just doing it on purpose.
No, you really didn't know how. You really were thinking... Stop thinking about it and just say Mogwai. Mogwai.
Margwai.
No. Mog.
Right.
Mog.
The...
Like a pog, but with an M.
Smog.
I was going to call
Remember
him...
pogs? Those were a thing
yeah.
until they weren't.
I was going to call him...
Slammers.
Oh, yeah. I had a yin-yang slammer. That was pretty cool.
Of course you did. Of course you had a yin-yang slammer.
Should take all the kids' gushers at class.
Gusher? No, I didn't like gushers.
Playing them for gushers.
No, I didn't like gushers.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you were a kid and you saw this movie, would you be frightened in certain
I'd be a
sequences?
little nervous. I mean,
Okay.
it's more like the curiosity, like what happens to them
Yeah,
when
but
they
how old would you be? Where you'd be nervous still?
So I could see if you were like a 7 or an 8-year-old kid, this movie scaring you a little bit. But
Yeah.
Safe to say-
I was like 10,
Yeah, I'm
generous.
convinced you would still be scared when you were like 15, 16 years old. You sure about that?
Yeah. Yes.
Probably not.
Okay.
I'd be scared till I was like 10.
probably.
Well, we'll have to disagree. on that.
Agree to disagree?
Yeah.
You're scared of the mice in the walls, but you wouldn't be scared of this.
Well, Andrew, definitely more of a comedy than a horror movie, but has elements of both. And you mentioned for the first time that The Thing frightened you. So hey, maybe The Thing opened the doors for fear. Any chance that you would find this movie scary as a kid?
No.
Probably not. Right? Yeah.
Realistic stuff is way scarier.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
stuff like
Yes, like the weather.
like the weather and volcanoes and whatever else. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yep.
Yeah, did you hear about Hawaii? They had a volcano erupt and they had an earthquake.
Just now?
Like yesterday. Last yesterday.
Yeah. Last night.
Yesterday
It's been
before
a long
the
Monday,
yesterday.
like-
You should have said the
It
yesterday.
has been a
before
long
last.
Monday today. Yeah.
Say that again?
The yesterday before last.
The yesterday before last.
A good name for a
AKA
movie.
2 days ago.
I know, I'm like, how many days ago was that? You can see me like, counting, like, how many days ago was yesterday?
Yes, the yesterday before last. Kat, favorite scene. What do you like?
I like when he falls asleep. I mean, out of the whole thing, I mean, the bar scene's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole thing, it's really fun, whatever. But I actually really like the little scene where they're, like, watching a movie and, like, they're just laying in bed together. The gizmo.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to call it, like, a zinky or something.
A zinky?
I'm sorry. That's better.
like-
That's better than
Margwai.
Margwai. Why would you say that over? Just keep saying Margwai and say it with attitude. Margwai.
The Margwai.
Yeah, there you go. Just do it. Just say Margwai. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Say
So,
it.
the zinky.
Zinky and the Margwai. We're going.
I was like, it's not zinky, it's gizmo. It's gizmo.
Gizmo, yeah.
I know. I don't know why I have such a problem with that right now. But when he's in bed with him, with the son or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Billy.
Yeah.
Now everything's funny to me. I'm sorry.
And
Billy,
they're like,
yes.
they're both like watching a movie, falling asleep next to each other because they're having a good time. Like, I was like, oh, like, I liked the nice little moments. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
Gizmo's definitely a
the
cute character.
heartwarming
We
little...
like the Christmas moments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The lovely moments.
exactly.
Okay.
And that one scene though gave me anxiety with all the tinsel on the tree.
Yeah, I remember you
I
saying that.
said this in the middle of the movie when they showed a picture of the tree in the house, and I said to Andrew, I was like, oh my god, all that tinsel would give me so much anxiety. I'd be like, what if it goes on fire?
Yeah.
How much is it going to clean up? I'm going to be finding this for years in my house. Like, I'm never going to be able to clean up all this tinsel. It's going to be terrible.
Okay. All right. Andrew, what about you?
I thought you were going to say it, and I was like, oh, wow, that was a really good scene, actually, but you didn't say it, so that was myself saying it.
Okay.
Myself in my head.
Now you can say
So
it.
now I can say it. I
Out
was like,
loud.
Oh. The scene where
On the podcast.
when they have escaped, when the Mogwai have escaped, and he's like, I didn't feed them before midnight, or after midnight. And he goes over, and the alarm was, his clock was
Chewed.
set wrong, it was bit through.
Yeah.
It was like, I can't say it.
It's like bit through.
It's like bit through. They chewed through the wire. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they chewed through the wire.
So they'd feed him after.
Yeah, that's clever.
Yeah.
That shows like a different. Obviously, they're clever.
It's a whole other intelligence thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then The pool scene, that was a good one too.
Yeah, I love when Billy when Billy pulls up the plug from the cord that they ate, and he looks at his mom. He's like, "Mom, what's going on?" such terrible acting. It's like, dude, come on, man, will you? Jesus
Mom,
Christ.
what's going
on?
Billy, what the fuck do you think's going on?
Not on the same type of level, but almost like they're eating her, and then they're going to eat me.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Which I sent you the other night from Trolls 2. That oh my god, one of the most unintentionally funny scenes in a movie of all time. Oh my god! I'm gonna have to put that sound clip in there.
They're eating her, and then they're going to eat me. Oh my god!
Yeah, I also had for my favorite scene. I mean, the Gremlins at the bar is hilarious. They're in there just like ripping butts, playing poker, shooting each other, killing each other. And then there's the one Gremlin.
The guns are impressive.
The one
That's
Gremlin
the weird part.
behind the bar with the trench coat on that flashes himself at Kate, the bartender. Just so weird.
They're playing poker and he shoots them.
Yeah,
Well,
just
they just-
Gremlin
kills
in
him.
the head.
Then you wonder, you're like, well, these gremlins have like gremlin clothes on now, and
Yeah.
like makeup and lipstick and
It
little,
reminds me
little
of
guns.
it's like all dogs go to heaven when the dogs are just gambling and smoking cigarettes and
Yeah.
drinking beers at the beginning of the movie. It's like, this is weird.
Yeah.
it's like
or
Princess
yeah, actually, it kind of is. Or Pinocchio on Pleasure Island in the Pinocchio movie, kind of
Yeah.
like that too. I also had the Gremlins when they show up at Mrs. Deagle's house and they kill her ass. 'Cause
That's
she's
awesome.
actually she's the worst. And,
Oh, yeah.
What a
I'll
bitch.
talk about her. She literally is the worst. But they show up caroling and then she just freaks the fuck out and then she gets flown up the stairs in her stupid... Dude, there's no reason for her to have that fucking chairlift thing. She can walk fine. She's walking across the street, walks to the front of the line like a Karen every single time, like an entitled asshole. I want my thing taken care of first. She's just the worst. The worst. I'll give you a few things on potential casting type stuff for this, okay? Because we always talk about that. So Phoebe Cates, who was cast as Kate, Billy's love interest, and I think at the end of the movie, probably girlfriend, works the bank with him, works the bar. So she was given this part despite concerns that she had been in some, dare I say, more risque roles in the past.
Oh, like who?
Most notably for her role and nude scene in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh,
You know the one I'm talking
Yeah,
about with
the one with Judge
Reinhold,
Reinhold, who was
Yep.
also in the movie.
Yep, yeah, exactly.
I
So,
haven't seen that in a long time.
yep. So she was in that, and basically they were kind of worried that it might have an effect in the movie, but Spielberg ultimately he gets what he wants, so he was able to get her in that movie. Spielberg also urged the casting of the relatively unknown Zach Galligan as Billy because he saw chemistry between Galligan and Phoebe Cates during some auditions, but a couple other actors who read for that role of Billy, the boy as you call him, Kat, Judd Nelson from The Breakfast Club.
Oh, I like him.
John Bender, and Emilio Estevez.
Nice.
Gordon Bombay.
Fun.
Aren't they
Also in
essentially the
Breakfast
same
Club.
people?
Kind of. Yeah, but lots of Breakfast Club people.
Interesting that Mike from Breaking Bad was in this.
Yes. So Mike Ehrmantraut, Jonathan Banks, who later got famous for Breaking Bad, also plays one of the cops in the town. So it's probably one of his first movie roles, I think. He's also in Trading Places. He plays a cop in Trading Places, too. So I love that movie. That's also a Christmas movie. A damn good one, too. Where were we? Let's see. Okay, Judd Nelson and Emilio Estevez. Movie also has Corey Feldman, who at that time had primarily been in commercials. This is one of his first film roles before he kind of blew up in the 80s, was in The Goonies. Spielberg used him in a bunch of other stuff.
Definitely used him.
Yeah, he's been in some stuff.
Yeah.
Corey Feldman, years have not been kind to one Corey Feldman.
Does
But
he-
that's a topic for another day.
Does Corey
depressing
Feldman
note.
have diabetes?
Diabetes.
What's that?
No.
Does
He
Corey
no, he does
Feldman-
not have diabetes. He probably has lots of other things, though. So
Good try to tie in there.
Yeah.
Who is
Sorry,
he?
Corey. That's a perfect segue, Kat. I'm glad you asked.
You don't know who he is in the show movie?
No.
So he's the
Friendly
so the next question I had was nitpicks. He's the young child that Billy decides to hang out with. So how old is Billy supposed to be in this movie? Right? He's clearly not in high school. He's clearly old enough to go to a bar and have a drink. And he's
Yeah.
hanging out with a kid that's like in middle school or high school. Just
But
like
it's
shows
not
up
his
at his
brother?
house and is like,
Well, would he be able to drink at 18? Because
No, but no.
I don't know when they changed the age from 18 to 21. I
'Cause
know
that
my dad
could-
my dad he could drink when he was 18 growing up.
Yeah.
So maybe
Could potentially mean.
Could you imagine being able to go to being in high school and be like, I'm going to the bar.
Go to the bar, baby.
Yeah,
Let's
right?
get loaded.
Sweet.
Let's
Jeez.
get loaded.
There'd be a lot more Deweys.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of interesting. Okay, like how old is this kid supposed to be, and why is he hanging out with?
That is
a
weird,
child?
because why isn't it just his little brother?
Yeah, I feel like that would be a better way to do it. I
They're
don't
like,
know.
hey, Corey Feldman, maybe they were kind of, speaking for another story.
Yeah.
Maybe they were kind of like, hey, Corey Feldman, this is going to be your life now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, oh God, Jesus!
I'm sorry. That's terrible, but
Jeez.
Oh boy. Any nitpicks from you guys, Andrew? Anything about this movie bug you, rub you the wrong way?
other than that element,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Anything bug me? No. This wasn't a movie that I would get bugged at.
Yeah.
Like, Gizmo's so cute. And Spike's, or not Spike, Stripe,
Stripe. Yeah.
such an asshole. Like, if they were humans, I could see, like, Stripe being played by Willem Dafoe. Oh, yeah,
I guess I could see that. Yeah, I can
and
see
then
that.
you could have Gizmo would be played by, say,
Who's a cute
someone with
little
some big
cute.
eyes.
Danny DeVito?
No, Danny DeVito's not cute. No, someone with, like,
He's a little round guy though.
I guess.
I'd watch it.
Who else?
I'd
would be a
watch it.
little round
Willem
guy?
Dafoe and Danny DeVito playing Gizmo and Stripe.
I'd watch that shit out of that.
Can I interest you in an egg in these troubled times?
Like, we should write a screenplay for that.
Maybe we can do that.
And then kill ourselves. 'cause
Okay, that's
terrible idea.
that's the Gremlins sequel that everyone's looking for, my friends. Kat, what about you? Anything bug you about this movie?
I'm usually not a fan of the whole like not special like the real stuff like you said before, like it because sometimes like special effects or like certain props or whatever look cheesy, but
Practical
I think
effects? Is that what it's called?
Practical
Did I say
effects.
that?
So basically, you're not a fan of CGI, but more you're a fan of practical effects.
No, I was getting the opposite.
No, I think I was doing the opposite.
Okay,
Then
so
it-
you said like 2 weeks ago that you were more a fan of practical effects
Well, I
than
think it
CGI.
depends on the movie
Now you're
because
saying-
like sometimes they're done like and they look awful.
God
and
help you
sometimes
if you talk
they're-
about the sink blood from it. I will lose my mind.
I wasn't gonna say that. There's certain.
I thought she was gonna.
God help you.
Excuse me. Oh my god.
I do not want to talk about the goddamn blood in the sink from it.
No. I think that like if this wasn't a funny movie, like if it was gonna be like a serious movie
Yeah.
and had all those puppets and stuff, I don't think I would have liked it. But since it's a goofy movie,
Right.
like the stupid like cheesy props are fine. They
Yeah.
make sense, and like all the little like I said before, like the Gremlins and like their clothes, like the little biker jacket, and, like the hat,
Yeah.
and like the little cigarettes and the little
Yeah.
guns, and
Yeah.
like they like just have all this Gremlin stuff like from where,
Yeah.
like, but you don't really care,
Yeah.
because it's just a funny movie.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I don't think you're supposed to. I think the filmmakers are probably, if you're the person that's asking those questions, they'd probably be like, "You're thinking about this way too hard."
Right.
You know,
yeah.
like-
You know
This
what
isn't supposed to be this
yeah,
type of
exactly,
movie, yeah.
exactly. Well, also, and after this movie came out, there were several kind of like rip-offs that kind of followed after the fact that tried to take themselves more seriously as like a horror movie. Like Critters came out after this. Obviously, we mentioned the Troll movies, Trolls and Trolls 2, which also feature chicken critters.
Some pizza.
Yeah, there were some rip-offs that were not as good as Gremlins that came out, obviously because of the success of this movie.
Unlike Tremors, which played on that same.
Exactly.
I like that movie. I think that movie's good.
I watched Tremors.
Andrew, who died the hardest, died the best in this movie? What was your best death, your favorite death?
Probably Stripes.
Stripes? Yeah.
That was the most like
Dude, that was a
gross one.
That was disgusting.
Yeah.
I forgot how gross that was.
Wait, in the microwave?
No, at the end
No, when he like essentially just
when
like melts.
Gizmo opens the shade.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, those were some good practical effects. That was
That was the only one you really like saw.
Yeah.
Saw.
Saw.
Like the two cops crash in the car. They
Yep.
apparently, I'm assuming they die. You see the bitch gets thrown out the window.
Well,
But you
mine,
don't really see anything.
mine is the one in the microwave.
Yeah.
That was gross.
Yeah. That's definitely a gross death. He just like explodes in the microwave.
Right.
Nasty.
Well, and it
There's some nasty kills in that kitchen scene with the blender. And
Yeah.
she's like stabs one like 50 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
I know, she got really vicious in that scene. Like,
Oh,
she was just
protecting
like,
her house, baby. She ready to go.
She was,
Ready to go. Fucking Randy Peltzer's off trying to sell fucking bathroom buddies, and she's defending the house from the gremlin invasion.
Yep.
Trying to sell bathroom buddies.
Bathroom buddies and
Would anybody ever buy that now?
Ashtrays. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe if it wasn't the worst toothbrush, the worst set of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a good idea, but his execution was terrible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's
Like,
very
if you
much
had a little box
supposed to be
and
like the
everything in it.
bumbling like inventor that okay, whatever. But
You could also just have a little, like, space maker box.
It's no
and have
surprise
all
that he's the
shit
one
in
that
there.
fucking thinks it's a good idea to sell the Mogwai
yeah. Exactly.
as pets.
So I did have Mrs. Deagle as my best death. I know it's, actually, when you see her fly out the window and you see her laying there after the fact, because I just fucking hate her guts so much. It was just so satisfying to see her die. She could arguably be one of the worst, bitchiest movie characters of all time. Like, in the same sentence, 2 minutes into the movie, she tells Billy that she wants his dog to die a slow, painful death, and that she wants him euthanized, and then she calls his dad a loser in the same sentence. That is indefensible.
You know what's more offensive about that scene is the fact that she pushes her way
Yes.
through the line, gets in there, and then she basically just tells people, get the fuck out of the way, I'm talking. And the people that she says it to, like, agree with her when she's doing it. I'm like, what are you, an idiot?
You know what I love too is when she's sitting there, she's like, maybe I'll put your dog in the dryer and have him spin around on high heat, and the guy next to her is like, oh yeah, I think that would definitely do it.
Not like,
shut
you
the fuck
insane
up,
bitch,
you
what
asshole!
are you
Like,
doing?
Jesus Christ, who would ever fucking say that? Yeah. So when she got fucking thrown out that window, I was like, yeah, that makes me happy every fucking time. Every time that happens.
So good.
Yeah, so good. So good. All right, so we always kind of talk about whether or not a particular movie would turn into a good haunted attraction. And while I think this would, I think it would be pretty tough to pull off for a Halloween event because of the number of puppets that you would need and animatronics and that kind of stuff, and that would probably cost a little bit too much to justify making one. Well, I think it would be awesome. It would be perfect because it would blend horror with Christmas. It could be great. But did you guys know there actually was a theme park ride based on Gremlins and starring the Gremlins?
No.
You ever know about this? So there were, I think they're still around, but there are 2 theme parks that are in Australia and Germany. They're called Warner Brothers Movie World.
Oh, fun.
So they essentially had a dark ride where it would, remember like the Great Movie Ride at Disney
Yes.
World where it took you through all kinds of different scenes from different movies?
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of shit like Singing in the Rain, Aliens, there's a bunch of other ones. But there was essentially a ride with the Warner Brothers version of that, where it was a dark ride through scenes from classic Warner Brothers movies that had the Gremlins in each scene. So basically the Gremlins, it was called Gremlins Invasion.
Oh, that's fun.
So it just basically was just the Gremlins invading and wreaking havoc on several classic Warner Brothers movies. So it sounds like it was actually a pretty cool ride. And the whole ride was hosted by Alf.
Oh.
Really?
That's
So,
really funny.
That's
yeah,
pretty
so it had
awesome.
Alf, it had Gremlins, it had a bunch of shit from other Warner Brothers movies. So
It's like my dad just said that to it.
yes, that is pretty funny because your dad was mentioning the other day how much you loved Alf when you were a child, which I
Yes.
thought was pretty funny.
He's like, oh, I used to go around the house and just be like, Alf, Alf, Alf.
Yeah, it's a good show. I'm gonna search for that.
Alf, Alf, Alf.
Yeah, so I think there's actually there's like YouTube videos you can watch of like a point of view like ride through like video type thing. It actually looks pretty cool, but it was an older attraction, so like the special effects and everything weren't as great, but it's still pretty cool to watch. Just it's a funny thing to see Gremlins and Alf interacting with each other on one particular ride.
Yeah.
So,
That's so weird.
Catherine, who is the MVP of the movie for you?
The Chinese man.
The grandfather?
Yeah.
The shop owner?
Yep.
Okay, why?
Because he is adamant that he doesn't want to give away his Mogwai. Mogwai?
You said it correct.
I did.
You
Yes.
did, yes.
Thank you. And then he comes back to save the day in the end. And he takes Gizmo back. And he's like, yep, you can't, this is what happened. Like, I should have never given him to you. You shouldn't have, oh no, he took him.
Yeah, he just took him back.
Yeah. No. I mean, like, originally, he just took him from his shop.
Right. Well, no, the grandson was like, hey, my grandfather doesn't like money or whatever. I'll take your money. Here's the Mogwai. Yeah. Okay. Interesting choice. I was not expecting that.
He saves the day. He comes back, and he takes Gizmo back, and is like...
I would argue that Billy and Kate save the day because they kill all the gremlins, and he just comes back and takes back his property to prevent it from happening again.
Right, but if he never took it back, it would probably happen again.
Probably, yeah, because that Mogwai is getting wet or, eating after midnight again at some point. That's why there's a sequel, which we'll get to in just a second here. Okay, so the shop-owning grandfather is Kat's MVP. Andrew, what about you?
So I would say it would be Gizmo because he finishes the job at the end.
Yep.
But it's also the weird plow guy because he knows all about the Gremlins before anybody else does, and no one listens to him.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone just thought he was ranting and raving like a crazy person, and how much he hates foreign cars and foreign TVs and everything foreign.
Dropping Gremlins in there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I didn't know if he was talking about those or the car. I was like, the car, which is a gremlin, or these Gremlins? Maybe that's why people didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah. Hey, but he was right all along. He was right all along. There were gremlins everywhere. I mean, it's easy to say Gizmo. He's cute. He definitely is a cute character. Cool looking design. But I got to go with the Gremlins themselves. There's just so many variations on them, and they are genuinely funny.
Yeah,
and a good character design. So I love those little. Every scene they're in is great. When they're in the movie theater, it's great. Obviously, we talked about when they're in the bar. That's also great. The first time you see one is when Billy is at the school and he's like bandaging up his hand in the nurse's office, and he leans his head against the cabinet, and there's the jump scare where the gremlin pops out of the cabinet, pops out of the cabinet. That's actually a pretty good little reveal. So yeah, I think the Gremlins, the title characters, probably won the movie for me. But all good choices, I would say. Let's see. All right, so that's MVP. Normally we ask if a movie is deserving of a sequel, so obviously there has been a sequel to this movie called Gremlins 2, The New Batch, which is decent, but, not as good as the first one. And we kind of talked about this already, but, would you like to see a new take on Gremlins? A sequel?
I think that'd be cool.
Obviously there's an animated series too, but I think that would be cool to see a sequel.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know, I don't think I knew that there was a sequel, but does it take place in... Is it still in the U.S. or is it?
Yeah, no, it's the same two characters. Oh. Basically with more gremlins in their town.
Oh, all right, cool.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah, I'd give it a watch.
Yeah,
like Tremors 2.
Yeah,
probably the same thing.
Right.
I've never seen Gremlins. I don't think I've seen Gremlins 2.
No, never. I haven't seen it in a long time, but it's worth watching. They get a little wackier with the gremlins. There's like different variations on them and stuff. It's not as good, but it's worth a watch.
Yeah.
I would like to see a sequel as well, but my only worry, to take a page out of your playbook, Kat, is that I would worry that they would rely a little bit more on CGI as opposed to practical effects, which I feel like would kind of lose some of the appeal and some of the magic, I guess, if you will, for me. So, I don't know. I definitely want to check out that animated series, though, whenever it comes out, if it's already out. I'll check it out and
it randomly
see.
Popped up somewhere. I wasn't even looking for things about Gremlins, but I think because we talked about Gremlins around my phone, it was like Gremlins. And I was like,
yep.
That's an interesting story.
Let's see, how many more times can you say it? And then you can every little ad on your phone will be a Gremlin.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay, how many Gremlins there are on my phone right now, probably?
Yeah. So, okay, Gremlins Secrets of the Mogwai is an upcoming animated comedy fantasy streaming TV series to be released on HBO Max. Set in 1920s Shanghai, East China, Secrets of the Mogwai will tell the story of how 10-year-old Sam Wing, who was the shop owner, met Gizmo as a young Mogwai. Let's see. Howie Mandel will not reprise his role as Gizmo. That's a damn shame. Let's see. And Joe Dante is acting as a consultant for the show. So it says here it's being released in 2021. There's not an exact date, so it's not out yet, but it will be coming. So I'll be watching that faux show because we have HBO Max, so that works for me. Cool. Any final thoughts on Gremlins, you guys? Kat, I'll start with you.
No, I like it, and I like that we watch it. I mean, not every Christmas, but it's a nice Christmas movie to watch when you're sick of the regular Christmas movies.
Yeah. I mean, you can only take so many, like, sweet, heartwarming Christmas stuff before you just get so sick and you want to throw up.
Yeah.
I like to mix in a little bit of
this is fun.
Christmas horror. It's a fun movie, right? So, like,
That's scary.
Yeah, I like watching traditional Christmas stuff too, but you got to give Gremlins and Krampus.
I don't think I've watched like a traditional Christmas movie since. Like, I should probably get on that. I still have to do Christmas shopping too, so that's no surprise.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Gremlins, like I said, it's a yearly rewatch for me, and obviously that means us. So I just look forward to next Christmas when I can watch it again.
Yes.
Or you don't have to wait until Christmas. Maybe
I could,
Christmas in July.
Christmas
and
in
watch
July.
Yeah, when it's free.
Right, when it's
I know.
free.
Well, we are going to that Christmas event at Fright Kingdom in July that I talked about, the Krampus haunt.
Yep.
So maybe we could watch Gremlins to get us in the mood for that, or
That would be
Krampus,
fun.
or both. Andrew, any final thoughts on the Gremlins before we wrap it up?
You wrapping up.
I don't know. I think I've said everything I could say about it.
Yeah,
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's classic.
yeah.
It's not scary. It's lighthearted, but it's good. It's
Is a Mogwai up here?
I don't know.
No, because he's not a ghost.
Oh.
The Margwai. I
Margwai.
like this better than Margwai.
The Mogwai.
The Margwai. So I think that's gonna wrap it up for us on this very special Christmas edition of America's Hometown Horror. Here's where you can find us on the following social media platforms.
Facebook.
YouTube and Facebook. Just search for America's Hometown Horror. You'll find us on both. I recently found a more efficient way to put all of our episodes onto YouTube without using iMovie and letting it rip for 18 hours at a time.
yeah.
So be looking for more of our stuff to come on YouTube.
I spend 18 hours a day getting ripped.
There you go. All right.
I don't know.
Putting in that
Clearly I don't.
gym time.
Wow.
Really, that's a lie because I
Jim Rat?
have no muscles.
You can also find us on Twitter at Hometown Horror. You can find us on Instagram at Hometown Horror Pod. You can also shoot us an email, which is a Merry Christmas at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. And you can also find our show on Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spreaker, and wherever else you get your podcasts. My name is Mike. Thanks so much for listening. Merry Christmas to all.
Merry
to all a
Christmas.
good night. And happy holidays to all. Whatever holiday you celebrate, we hope that you have a great one.
Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa.
Yes, we've been joined by my co-host Andrew and Kat. Say goodbye to your listeners, folks.
Merry Christmas, motherfuckers.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and just wanted to say thank you again for listening to another episode of our show, because of course, we would be nothing without you listeners. If you are interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I would highly recommend you check out some shows by our cohorts on the Inebriart Podcast Network. That's right, the Inebriart Podcast Network, folks. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find the Inebriart Podcast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, Retro Redoctopus, and Old Colony Cast. Head on over and give them a listen.